What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel, where for today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my update to my Transformers animated collection. So around about January time this year, Hasbro finally announced they were going to be introducing some animated characters into Transformers Legacy. So far we've had Prowl, Bumblebee and an upcoming Optimus Prime, which at the moment seem to be some of the best from that line. But it has made me want to go back and revisit some of the original Transformers animated figures, because as the old saying goes, old is gold. But because I never got into Transformers until 2011, I completely missed the boat on animated entirely. So since the beginning of this year, I've been on the hunt. I've been trying my hardest to track down at least one of every single mold for the Transformers animated line, and so far I've done a decent job, with the exception of that incredibly elusive animated Blackout. So I've already given you guys part 1 to this haul. Today is part 2, so let's get these newbies out of the way and check out some of the oldies. And we are going to be starting off with a bang, as first up we have Deluxe Class Blazing Lockdown. Now, I have already done a retro review on the original version of this mold. I thought it was such an amazing figure that I wanted to track down all of the repaints and retools, and I think at the moment I have pretty much all of them, but this is the Blazing repaint. So it has this really nice metallic gold, and he also includes another of Lockdown's signature weapons, that being the chainsaw, which has been so nicely detailed. The design for this Lockdown, I think, is just incredible. It was so good that in Revenge of the Fallen, Hasbro took this design and kind of moviefied it to a deluxe, which I think was even a little better than this animated release. So yeah, truly a banger of a deluxe. But every good sequel turns into a trilogy, so I did not stop there, and I also tracked down the stealth version of Lockdown. Now, I'm not sure about yourselves, but Lockdown has always been a character which has struck me as being quite Predator-like. Not only is he a bounty hunter, but he has so many skills, so many weapons at his disposal, so his ability to turn invisible, to me, perfectly suits this character, and I think this is by far one of the best transparent redecos Hasbro have ever made. For the most part, this guy is completely see-through, yet the integral joints such as the elbows, the hips and the knees have been cast in this really durable solid plastic. So just an amazing redeco. I also really like this almost green war paint that you can see throughout the body and on the face sculpt. Again, really gives me Predator vibes, and the vehicle mode this figure transforms into is just god tier. So imposing, really accurate to how it showed up in the animation. But this figure is truly the gift that keeps on giving, because included with Stealth Lockdown were 2 legend scale figures. So we have Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, which for their scale and the time that they were released, I think are brilliant. So well designed, they transform into vehicle modes which look just as nicely done as their robot forms, and the details and the paint for their robot modes I think are pretty decent. So I'm going to have to see if there were more legend scale Transformers animated figures, as these 2 are by far some of the best legend figures that I've been able to pick up in quite some time. And then another deluxe figure which I have recently been able to track down would be animated Blur. And these deluxe figures for this line have to be some of the best that Hasbro have ever made. This thing is enormous. It is almost as big as some of the modern leader class releases, and it's just so accurate in terms of its robot design. And not to mention, Blur from animated I think has one of the most striking Autobot designs that we've ever seen. He's so lanky, he's so streamlined, almost alien-like, especially when we check out the head sculpt, and the light piping is awesome. Light piping is a running theme that you'll see throughout this video, and trust me, the next figure which we're going to check out I think takes it to a whole other level. But you really would not think, considering how skinny this guy is, that he could transform, let alone articulate, although he does kind of cheat in the way he transforms, because you do have to pop off basically the front bumper. But in robot mode, if you push this button, bang, it does kind of act as a blade, an energized blade, which looks sweet. You can also use this in the vehicle mode, which, talking of, looks just as futuristic as the robot mode. The rear wheels are so strange that they look like they could not even roll, yet they do so seamlessly. So Blur, an absolute 10 out of 10 of a figure, and is one that I definitely hope to give a full-blown review to fairly shortly. And then another deluxe figure, one of the final ones that I've been able to pick up since January, would be Rodimus Minor. Now, Lockdown was amazing, Blur looks amazing, but I think this may just be my favourite deluxe figure out of the bunch. This guy looks incredible. He was a Toys R Us exclusive, so even back during 2008-2009, Hasbro still put some of the best releases as an exclusive, but he does include this really awesome spring-loaded crossbow, which does include 2 projectiles, which even by today's standards, check this out, bang, fire so well, and his vehicle mode is pretty much up to par with his robot form. It looks incredible, and much like Blur, look at that light piping. They even sculpted a pair of pupils inside so that when light shines through, it illuminates those and makes him look so accurate. This is an absolute banger. If I review any animated figure by the end of the year, it will most definitely be this guy, because stacked up alongside some of the more recent deluxe figures, this thing is an absolute god. Now we're going to jump up a scale class to Voyager. Now this is the Seeker mold. I believe specifically this is Skywarp. I did try my best to find Starscream, but he seems to be so much harder to track down than this guy. So for the time being, this will do. Really and truly, I just wanted one version of each mold. So this will tide me over for now. This is an okay figure, definitely one of the weakest that I've so far checked out. I find the leg design to be quite awkward, especially in the way it works, but I love the way the arms transform. So these pieces kind of pop out along with the projectile, so it gives you the impression that this entire null ray has formed out of the forearm, which is such a sweet look. And check out that light piping. You know, light piping for these animated figures, I think just looks so sick, as so does the cockpit. The jet mode for a figure which was engineered way back in 2008, I think too is not bad. As we spin him around here to the back, he is quite flat. In some ways I wish the wings were articulated, because there's really not much substance to him at all, and with articulated wings it allows you to make the Seekers look a little more dynamic. So if they ever do approach this design in Legacy, that is an improvement that I'd like to see. It's a decent looking figure to just stand there on the shelf, but definitely not one of the more enjoyable to mess around with. And now we jump into the leader classes, and first up we have the big bad leader of the Decepticons, Megatron. Now I have always loved the animated design for Megatron. I think his robot form looks incredible, and I loved how, unlike most Megatrons, he transformed into an actual helicopter. He's not a tank, he doesn't try and pull off some weird turret form. He was a full-blown dual-propellered helicopter, and he looks sick. The helicopter mode for this figure I think is an absolute unit, and robot form is so well done. He has proper heavy-duty spring-loaded ratchets, which by today's standards you're lucky if you see those on like a 200-pound masterpiece. So these leaders of old were definitely built differently, and all of them had electronic lights and sounds. So as we smack his Decepticon insignia, I absolutely love how the chest and the head illuminate, the mouth moves, and so does the brow. That adds a shed ton of personality, so super well engineered, and it's quite a fun figure to just kind of look at. Not super articulated, but this thing was released like 15 years ago. This is definitely a design that I would like to see Hasbro reapproach. I think Megatron, as I said, turning into a helicopter is brilliant, and it's a shame that we never saw a proper full-blown Voyager or leader of that Earthspark Megatron, as I think that design is the closest we have come to matching what was already established in animated. But despite Megatron being the leader of the Decepticons, you know, you'd think they would pour all of their budget into him. I think Ultra Magnus is even better. Not only is this thing an absolute tank or a unit in his robot mode, but all of the weapons you guys can see packed into the shoulders can also be used in the same way in truck mode. He transforms into this kind of armoured militaristic vehicle. It looks insane. As I said, the leader class plastic quality of these animated figures were just incredible. I mean, this thing is so hefty that if someone clubs you with it, you're definitely going to know about it. And much like Megatron, if you smack the Elite Guard insignia, check this out.
We must return the Allspark to Cybertron. Ultra Magnus here. Don't be a hero, Optimus. It's not in your programming.
You get a total of 3 phrases, the chest and the head illuminate, as so do the missiles here for Ultra Magnus, and he includes this massive ass hammer. So definitely such an incredible figure. The only area that I think these leaders are kind of lacking in would be articulation. They are a little compromised. I imagine that's due to the whole electronic gimmick in the chest, which ultimately is why I think they cut it from some of the newer releases so they could focus more on engineering. But despite that being inside the chest, it really did not stop them nailing the accuracy, because this thing looks near enough dead on to how he appeared in the animation. But I think I've definitely saved one of the best for last, because one of the more recent pickups would be Leader Class Bulkhead. Now, in my original haul video that I dropped around about January time, I did show off the Voyager version, and to be honest, I was quite happy with that release, but I had so many of you guys in the comment section say that the Leader Class version was superior in pretty much every single way, and damn, you guys were right. This thing is amazing. So not only is it super hefty, but it is massive in terms of how much plastic they've used. I love how much weaponry he has. He comes with these 4 additional missiles, which I don't believe we ever see in the show. Unfortunately, they're not spring-loaded projectiles. I was kind of expecting them to be so, considering this is a 2008 Leader, but he does come packing with some gimmicks. So if you take this slider and hinge it forwards, the buzzsaw actually spins, which is cool. And then for this side, if you arch this backwards, it does begin to open and close the claw. So that's awesome. Scale-wise too, he's also much better fitted with the Voyager Optimus than the Voyager Bulkhead. So just such an awesome looking figure. He also includes some electronic lights and sounds, so if we push the Autobot logo, I love how the chest, the shoulders, and the head illuminate. He says a total of 3 phrases, but that's not all for Bulkhead, because this guy, and the main reason why I have left him to last, includes the Headmaster unit. Now, this is also compatible with both Ultra Magnus and Megatron, but this does not alter their sound effects like it does here for Bulkhead. So if you slide this over the top, check this out. Ownage! It also changes the lights of Bulkhead. So originally they were this amber colour. When you attach the Headmaster unit, they instantly changed to red, which I thought was so cool. And I think it's really awesome how it does completely change his sound effects. The Headmaster unit as well has been so nicely detailed. I mean, check out this kind of brain module that we have slap bang in center. So truly such an amazing leader, and he transforms into this very heavy duty militaristic truck. Really does look quite reminiscent of the Age of Extinction Hound. So it's kind of a shame that character was never called Bulkhead, as I think that name definitely would have more suited him than Hound. But such a brilliant looking figure. So those at the moment are all of the updates animated figures that I've been able to track down since that initial haul. As I mentioned, I think I've been able to pick up the essentials with the exception of that animated Blackout, which unfortunately is looking unlikely I'll ever be able to find, as that is super elusive. But you guys let me know down below, what are some of your favourite animated figures? Are there any animated figures that I haven't checked out which maybe you guys think I should? Be sure to let me know what figures in this video you guys would like to see full-blown retro reviews of, and until my next review, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. Transform and roll out!